a very public embarrassment for LeBron James and Hollywood remakes. It couldn't possibly get any better than this. That's right. The new Space Jam is getting absolutely eviscerated by critics, and I'm here for it to share some of the best highlights for you. Now, the movie is out on HBO Max, so if you already have it, it'll cost you nothing to watch it. Although, I would offer this, it will cost you 2 hours of your life that you will never get back. Now, if you have young kids, and young kids like wacky stuff and flashy colors and goofy stuff, I'm sure that they're going to like it. I don't think that there's anything fundamentally just awful about this that kids would even notice. But anyone looking for really any bit of normal entertainment in this film will be sorely disappointed, and the reviews haven't held back. Before I get into all that, huge shout out. Maybe instead of watching a movie, you could listen to a book that you've been meaning to listen to. Check this out. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Blinkist. Look, I like reading books, but I don't always have time to sit down and read through the entire thing. I've recently discovered Blinkist, so instead of having to find all the time to read an entire book, I can just listen to all the highlights in only 15 minutes. Why Blinkist? Well, they have the best insights from over 4,500 nonfiction books. It condenses them all down to just about 15 minutes. You can read or listen to them podcast style. Just look at all the different categories they have: entrepreneurship, science, economics, corporate culture, politics, history, psychology, technology, productivity, communication skills, personal development, marketing and sales. You can see Turning Pro, how to do the work, set boundaries, find peace, the motivation myth. All of these type of books in 15 minutes. Look, I've got a special offer for you. The first 100 people that use my link in the description or pinned comment below are going to get unlimited access for 1 full week to try it out. You'll also get 25% off if you want the full membership. So be one of the first 100 people to click the link. Look, find a book that you've been meaning to read, listen to it, and I guarantee you'll love Blinkist. Check out the links in the description and pinned comment below. Now I want to just share a few little tidbits from, the early reviews. The new Space Jam is an apocalyptic horror. Space Jam: A New Legacy is a bloated mess with shameless plugs to other Warner Brothers content, critics say. Space Jam: A New Legacy is the ultimate vanity project. Space Jam: A New Legacy currently at a 36 on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's take a look at a few of the reviews. Less a movie than a branding exercise for LeBron James himself, as well as Warner Media, which encourages out-of-context use of its century-old film library. Space Jam Legacy: A New Legacy holds early promise, but doesn't last. With no satire or a lick of creativity to compensate, Space Jam: A New Legacy stares into the eyes of the capitalism and embraces it with open arms. I'm surprised anybody would be shocked by that, given that it's a LeBron James project. Critics will pick on this sequel in what we do when we allege creative enterprise turns into a corporate ad campaign. Expect no grumbles from the under 13 crowd eager to eyeball LeBron James jamming in cyberspace with cartoon royalty. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is just a time killer. And I do admit, not every movie is meant to be an Academy Award winner. But it's particularly awesome when LeBron James gets dunked on. Space Jam: A New Legacy is anything but new, as it rehashes the original film storyline and pulls half its jokes from WB references. While kids might enjoy offering from director Malcolm D. Lee, adults with nostalgia for the old Looney Tunes shorts will likely be disappointed. I mean, make no mistake, Space Jam: A New Legacy is painful to watch. The movie lacks genuine emotion. I never cared about the basketball game, even with the beautiful CGI. Watching a Space Jam: New Legacy is like being trapped in an explosion at a paint store. The experience is visually painful and not at all funny. D-. Now, if you remember, the original Space Jam wasn't exactly, a lot of you probably don't remember this, and certainly we weren't using Rotten Tomatoes as frequently back then. But one interesting thing to point out is when it was originally released in 1996, this film has a 44% compared to this one with a 36 and falling. So it's not like the original Space Jam was incredibly embraced by critics. It was a comedy family kids movie. Now, Michael Jordan is obviously from an apolitical era of sports where, NBA finals used to get, or NBA All-Star games used to get 30 million viewers, and now they're lucky to get 5. LeBron James, heavily political, both on the American soil and also shilling for China. There's really no comparing the two, either in career or actor or likability. While LeBron James may be the face of this film, he is strongly disliked by, half this country. Not, and irrespective of his basketball skills. You can't take away his championships, but he sure is a piece of garbage, in my opinion. And you look at the audience rating with over 250,000, it's a 63%. Now, we don't have much of an audience score from Space Jam New Legacy, but we can see terrible, don't watch, LeBron is a wannabe Jordan, oof, that was rotten. You have some good 4 and 5 stars. Horrible, I didn't expect it to be better than the original, but this is the worst movie since Cats. Haha, how far Bugs has fallen. Filled with cringeworthy forced moments and cliches with a plot that abandons the game. Don't watch unless you want to cement LeBron behind more than just MJ. I'll put him behind Charles Barkley now. There are some good positive reviews. The animation and CGI were spectacular, obviously better than its predecessor. The acting was pretty all right, but the Looney Tunes did their thing as usual. The jokes were great, and they were a lot of callbacks to the first film. Sure. I mean, the movie is probably, but here's one thing that I think is funny, okay? If we look at when they re-released Space Jam, okay, this is how fickle people can be. The re-release of Space Jam, the 20th anniversary in 2016, this has an 85% audience score. 0 reviews from critics. Or from, 0 reviews from critics. So, even higher than the original audience score for Space Jam. But some of these reviews have been just hilarious. Just hilariously brutal. I think there was one in the post. Space Jam: A New Legacy review, LeBron James is an abomination. During the endless final sequence of Space Jam: A New Legacy, Porky Pig calls himself the notorious P.I.G. and begins to rap. This pig is lit, the Looney Tune says. I'm super legit. Porky should have added, and my move is... In the pantheon of misguided sequels and reboots, A New Legacy is right up there with Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, the original, and the little. I don't even want to say that word because I know YouTube's going to think it's something else. The original 1996 Space Jam wasn't a top drawer either, but it made a buck at the box office. So money-grubbing Warner Brothers took 25 years to crank out a follow-up that's far, far worse, and they know it. Over its interminable, nearly 2-hour runtime, the film repeatedly mocks its very existence. I'm a ball player, says LeBron James, taking the reins from the original Michael Jordan during the pitch meeting in WB execs. And athletes acting, well, it never goes well. That's especially true of Cardboard James. The villain in the movie is a WB algorithm called AI G Rhythm, done by John Cheadle, who is responsible for drumming up all of the studio's soulless content, such as this. When LeBron arrives in Toon World, where the Looney Tunes are supposed to live, he finds it largely abandoned. Bugs Bunny tells the Laker his animated pals left home for more appealing properties: Harry Potter, DC Comics, Game of Thrones, etc. That's also what viewers have done. Today's kids are much too busy monetizing their TikToks to watch a cartoon about a hunter with a speech impediment. The plot, such as it is the same as the 96 movie, except the alien foe has been changed to a computer. The technology infusion robs the film of fun. AI zaps LeBron in his video game-obsessed son, Dom, who's not actually his child, but actor Cedric Joe, into the serververse, and challenges him to a basketball game against a menacing goon squad. If LeBron wins, the pair gets to go home. If he loses, he's trapped for eternity. A feeling I was all too familiar with. While LeBron recruits his scrappy team, Warner Brothers makes us watch a long HBO Max ad. Mad Max, Austin Powers, Rick and Morty, Batman, Harry Potter, Casablanca, and more flash across the screen in a montage as if to brag about the studio's extensive catalog. It's one of a director Malcolm D. Lee's many strategies to avoid developing characters or having funny scenes. Eventually, LeBron settles in on Bugs, Daffy, Elmer Fudd, Lola Bunny, and company to help him win. Alongside, the movie blares its obnoxious be yourself message like a foghorn. At the start, LeBron aggressively pushes Dom to become a ball player like him and forces the team to practice for hours on end. You can't be great without putting in the work, he says, but Dom only wants to design video games in his bedroom. You could probably guess what the two are sucked into the computer. LeBron suddenly develops a newfound appreciation for his son's coding abilities. Some of the film's first problems can be forgiven by its sheer camp value, and because it was a real cultural event. Getting Michael Jordan, the most famous athlete in the world, in a movie was a huge deal. And the film's soundtrack, whose big song I Believe I Can Fly was regrettably performed by R. Kelly, went 6 times platinum. This film, however, is nothing more than forgettable nostalgia bait. Like they do with most reboots, audiences are going to stick with Space Jam's old legacy. And the amount of just crushing reviews from everybody just makes my heart sing. Can't say I feel 1 ounce bad for LeBron, China, James, and this epic failure on the world stage and a simultaneous failure for Hollywood. What an excellent way to start the weekend. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.